Aaron had posted he had recently done this at South Carolina's fall conference, and so I asked him if he would be willing to do it for mentoring, and he happened to be available for tonight. So he graciously said yes. And so Aaron's bio is graduated from Paul Smith's College in 1993 with associates in land surveying. He's an associate owner with Rowe Professional Services Company. He got licensed in South Carolina in 2000, North Carolina in 2008, New York in 2010. He's the past president of South Carolina Society of Professional Land Surveyors. He was the 2017 South Carolina Surveyor of the Year. He is currently the chair of NSPS Trickstar Board. He is on the NSPS Foundation as a trustee. And are you still on the scholarship committee for South Carolina as
I
well?
am on the scholarship
Okay.
committee and the education committee.
And the education committee, yeah. Sweet. So, um, uh, as we kind of talk about it, like when we do these mentoring Mondays, it's all 50 states, and so there's so much different variety from Washington to the East Coast, and so I like having these different conversations. So when Aaron presented this one recently, and I saw the kind of the highlights that he was presenting, I thought it would be a great one for mentoring. So I will turn it over to you, Mr. Leach, and I appreciate your time as always.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
Of course.
And I do have a disclaimer to that note that this was a presentation done in South Carolina
Yep.
in Myrtle Beach. So it is very specific to Horry County, South Carolina.
Mhm.
Now, the Atlantic, so before I begin, I do want to just ask one question to see how familiar everyone is with what we're going to discuss here. So, are y'all familiar with the Atlantic Intracoastal Waterway? It's
Nope.
kind of a yes or no. Okay. Well,
Yep.
that's good because there's actually no such thing as the Atlantic Intracoastal Waterway. It is, in fact, and I'll share my screen, it is the Atlantic Intracoastal Waterway.
Ba-dum-bum.
So when I did this seminar Saturday, it was a room full of South Carolina surveyors. One of them, a 75-year-old land surveyor, who was aghast when I said that he had been pronouncing it wrong his entire life. And that's when I said, well, that concludes tonight's seminar. I hope you all learned something. Thanks for coming.
Made it
But
quick.
yeah, so I do not have a PowerPoint presentation for this. I'm going to be kind of jumping all over, opening my screen, opening different drawings, different things. But I want to start with, and I got to start sharing again. I want to start with the history of the Atlantic Intracoastal Waterway. So this today, as it exists, is almost 3,000 miles of intracoastal waterway. This was not all completed at one time. This was done in very many phases over many years and for different needs in different areas. The idea of the Intracoastal Waterway started way back even with Thomas Jefferson, the War of 1812. They saw the need for having a way to transport goods through waterways that were not in the ocean or using the ports because the ports were all blockaded by the British, the man of wars, and they were patrolling the ocean. So even back then, they saw the need for it. And later on, for national security reasons, in the 1940s, the early 1940s, and who could tell me what was going on in the Atlantic Ocean in the early 1940s?
The Atlantic in the 1940s. Hmm.
German subs.
That's right, the
Okay.
dang
Yeah.
Nazis.
Yeah. Okay.
They sunk millions of tonnage of cargo and shipping to the point that it was actually withheld from the people as to not demoralize the populace. So a lot of the Atlantic Intracoastal Waterway during the early 1940s was not as it is today. Today it is a 300-foot wide channel. Back then it could have been as narrow as 10 feet just because they had to have it and they had to have it now. So they constructed these very small channels, which they then later widened. So again, back to South Carolina and Horry County specific. Our channel was really the conceptual design of it was done in 1927. The original Army Corps of Engineer monumentation happened in 27. The right-of-way acquisition for it didn't happen until 1931 to 1933. The actual construction was not completed until like 1949. So one thing I want to show you is just the right-of-way acquisition that happened here. And hold on, let me find my, don't know why I don't have that. There we go. Oh, that's not it. All right, let me just open this quick. So this is a set of the original right-of-way acquisition plats, and you can see that this one in here is from 1933. This is when they had the index of all the sheets. And as I go through this here a little bit, you're going to see that these things are not in very good condition to scan these, but the construction of the canal tried to follow these natural riverbeds, and then the canal itself was cut right down the path of least resistance through there. So they have these right-of-way flats that show, you know, not only the canal prism and the right-of-way, but they also show this spoil disposal area. So as they constructed this canal, they had to have some place to put the dirt. That's going to come into play here a little bit later. So how do we survey this today? With this, I mean, this is actually kind of poor information here because you really can't read all of it. They have since redigitized these things. So again, this is the original from 1931, but this was revised probably 2001. So you can now read it. So this is the exact same drawing I just showed you, but a redigitized, remastered version of it. So again, we show that this is the right-of-way, this is the canal prism. So with that, I want to describe to you when we survey the Atlantic Intracoastal Waterway, there's certain things that we're looking for. And it depends on what we are doing with it. If we are doing a boundary survey, such as this one, we're going to establish the right-of-way. The way we do that is to establish the center line of the canal first, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But one thing I want to point out is when you're looking at the right-of-way of the canal, it can have curves in it. If we look at some of those old right-of-way plats, they have PCs, they have PTs, so they are on curves. When we go to establish the center line of the canal, however, and this is a drawing, this is all of Horry County, South Carolina, from the North Carolina line, which is right there, down to Georgetown County, where the Atlantic Intracoastal Waterway actually dumps into a natural water body, which is the Waccamaw River. But I want to just concentrate on a few things here, what we're looking for when we're establishing lines within the Intracoastal Waterway. If we were going to do a survey and we were doing a dock survey, let's say we're going to permit this dock right here, the very first thing you have to do is you have to go and find some of these monuments. These monuments are at different stations, and if you look at this sheet here, the monument has a offset to the center line. It has a coordinate in 83 and 27 coordinates, so you could convert those coordinates to your GPS today and go out within, you know, a couple of feet, find these things. The accuracy of these is always to the nearest foot. Even though these coordinates go out to the nearest hundredth, the offset is the nearest foot. And that really is what is important. So like I said, if we're doing this survey here, the very first thing we have to establish is what they call the center line of canal prism. That is this line right here. Once you have that line, you offset it 45 feet each way, and that gives you what is called the canal prism. What we would need after that is an offset to what is called the no-build line. The no build line is 125 feet from the center line of Canal Prism. So if we offset that line both ways 125 feet, that means you're not supposed to build your dock over that line. As you can see, it sure does happen. Now, the Army Corps of Engineers, this drawing right here is probably 20 years old. So I doubt very, very much that unless they had a special permit, I doubt very much those docks still exist in that position because the Army Corps of Engineers does go out and maintain it. So with that, like I said, we have from these monuments, we've established the center line of Canal Prism.
Oh, we lost him. He froze.
Stage fright. I've seen it before.
Where'd he go? I like it. First thing that comes to mind while he was, let's see. Oh, we see him. He's moving again. You froze up there, Aaron.
Oh, all right, sorry.
So the last thing was pretty much just finding the monuments. Right after you said Army Corps continues to kind of monitor what's built in the no build zone. That was kind of the last conversation there.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, and then he freezes again.
That if they saw something sticking out beyond another dock, they would locate it with their GPS and they would know that it was in the wrong position.
Yeah. Will you try killing your video? For some reason, you keep freezing. I don't know why. But we'll save some bandwidth maybe with your video, but yeah. See if that does anything. But yeah, you said the last thing was kind of monitoring that no build zone. So
All right, can you hear me now?
yeah, you're doing good.
Okay. So again, this drawing is probably 20 years old.
Yep.
If you offset this line 125 feet, this dock is over that line. This probably does not exist today in this instance because the Army Corps of Engineers does patrol this, and if they see something sticking out beyond other docks, they're going to locate it and they're going to know that there's a problem here. They're either going to make you tear it out or permit after the fact.
So I assume that water goes all the way up to those docks outside of that 45-foot prism zone.
Yep. So
Okay.
if you look at this drawing,
Yep.
and I'm going to show you this. This is a drawing that a friend of mine did. He's a surveyor. These three buildings are built. The rest of this was never built. And one marina was built here, and I did the permitting for that, but I'm going to show you that here in a second. But if you look at this, you see the center line of the waterway. An offset to the right of way is right here, but there is more water to the top of bank. So that is waters of the US because that is still navigable waters.
Got it.
So back to what I was trying to say here was, all right, before I froze up.
Yeah, you're good.
So the important lines here, you've got the center line of Canal Prism. We offset that 45 feet. We've got the Canal Prism itself. We offset that 125 feet, and we've got the no build line. Who can tell me what line is missing from this? What's another line that would have to be on here if you were doing a dock permit?
Oh, I was gonna say like the outer edge of the right of way, but when you say dock permit,
The right of way.
okay,
That is the line that's missing.
sure, okay.
So who can tell me why that line would be missing from an Army Corps of Engineers drawing?
Because it's meandering and it
No,
moves.
because they don't care about it.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah.
Now, if you're going to go do a dock permit, you better show that right away. You better show the no build line, and you better show the canal prism in the center line. But they do not show it in here because they don't care about it. The only thing they care about is that no build line. They don't want you coming across that because they want their 20 or 250-foot swath.
Yeah.
But the only thing they really care about is this 90-foot canal prism because that is all they are ever going to dredge and maintain. If you're going to build a dock here and there's a bunch of sediment, and you need to have that dredged out to get the boat clearance, you're going to do that yourself. You're going to permit through them, but you're going to do that yourself. They are not going to do that. Only in some catastrophic erosion or alluvium event that blocks the channel would they go in there under an emergency and do that dredging.
Mm.
So I do want to show you, like I said, these monuments are very important to find these. Where is it? So that survey, those three buildings sit right here. So we went across to this golf course and we found these three monuments. And that really is enough. Again, these things are to the nearest foot. So that really is enough for us to establish this canal prism. If I couldn't find those three, I have, in some instances, I've had to go 2 or 3 panels away to find a monument to use. Now, I do want to show you what these things look like. So I had to do this seminar on Saturday, and I realized I did not have a picture of a monument. So I went out on Thursday to dig this one up. Didn't bring my Shaunastat, so I had to go back to the office, then come back and get this one. And the sad thing is I dug this thing up 4 years ago, so I figured I could just walk right to it, but that wasn't the case. Now, when you're digging these things up, if they've been buried for 50 years, it's a good idea to bring a bottle of water and a wire brush and some paper towels so you can clean this thing off. And that's what it looks like when it's cleaned off. It gives you that station number, and it gives you the offset to the center line of the canal prism. It also gives you the year of the monumentation. Now, again, the original monumentation throughout this county was done in 1927. There was a remon after the right-of-way acquisition in 1933. It really was not another one until I think it was 1969 they did one. Then they did this 1976 remon and then a 1979 remon.
Mm.
That 1979 is the last one that will ever take place. Once these monuments are gone, they are gone forever, which is a sad, sad state of affairs. So one thing to look at, like on this, you see this is 733 plus 30. If I go to this CAD file that had that monument in it, hold on, I gotta get that. Oh, that's a different one. All right, I got a different one I want to show you. So I was golfing on Saturday and I came across this one right on the golf course, which is one of the ones that so it has the station number on there. Sometimes you don't have to dig them up. Sometimes they're sticking right out of the ground. This monument was made in 1976. This terracotta covering that they put around it was part of the 1979 remonumentation. Now that monument is this one. And again, we can see the station number, we can see the offset and the year. But if you look at this station, 1447 plus 92, and if we go to our monument across the way, it is not that station number. So when they redid these drawings in 2003, they updated the coordinates. So the coordinates that are on the monument don't exactly match. They're off by a couple of feet. So again, you can either convert the coordinates from this table, or the best thing that I've found is to just go out there and locate 3 or 4 of them. And a good thing about doing that is everywhere along this waterway that you do that, you can build yourself a database so that now once these monuments are gone, they are gone forever. So you still would need the coordinates to know how to reestablish that center line of canal prism. So this is a survey that we did. Let me zoom out here. No. So this is the lot. You can see the aerial really doesn't match with real world coordinates. But anyway, what we were doing, this guy's got a boat lift here and he wants to put a deck over it. A 2-story deck. So he can still have his boat lift and then have a deck to sit out on top. The existing wall was outside of that no build line. This is the no build line. But because it was existing, it's grandfathered in. Now, nothing is automatically grandfathered in on the waterway. It is all a case by case basis. So this is grandfathered in. He was able to build his deck. But if you look at this from that deck right there, that is an elevation of 2551.
Yeah.
The elevation out here at the water
Seven.
is 7.
Holy cow.
And again, this is all built up right here because this was the spoil area. As they dug this out, that's where they dumped that spoil. So it is it's very steep, some of these areas along the waterway. Now, another thing, since I've got this aerial in the background of this that I want to show you is, again, here we are at the state line. This is Little River, Calabash River. The waterway itself comes out of North Carolina here, comes up into the Little River area, and then from this point here, all the way through, this is the heart of North Myrtle Beach. This is the heart of Myrtle Beach. Our airport is right here. Until we get to this Waccamaw River right here, which becomes a natural water course and continues on the waterway. From here to North Carolina, 98% of this waterway is man-made. It's dug. It is a dug canal in very straight lines for, well, as straight as they could make it. If we go back to these right-of-way plats, what I wanted to show you here, I'm going to find the one that I had. I closed it earlier.
While you're looking for that, what kind of commerce is through this waterway?
So today it is mostly commercial. I would say 90% of the vessels traveling up and down the Intracoastal Waterway in Horry County, again, this is
Yeah.
very specific to our area.
Yep.
It's tourism. It's recreational.
Got it.
Now, there are some areas. Let's see, let me get back to this.
Sorry to sidetrack you there, but
No, that's all right. So, again, from here at North Carolina, you have an outlet to the ocean.
right.
Your next outlet to the ocean isn't until you get all the way down to Georgetown County to come out here.
And
So
how
that
many-
is quite a ways that you're traveling inland
Yeah, I was gonna
on
say,
this waterway.
how many miles is that, you think? 100?
I can tell you in 1 second.
Yeah. Yeah, just distance.
I mean, even if we did a straight line distance to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
to
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you're looking at 168,000 feet in a straight line distance.
That is 31 miles, 32 miles.
Yep, 31.8.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of, that's a lot of the 3,000 miles that is this waterway.
Yeah.
But like I said, you're going to have counties like Georgetown County, like here. All of this section of the waterway is all natural water bodies until you get to this section. And then once again, let me zoom out a second. Once again, it becomes this man-made channel. And it's this man-made channel inside of the reef area. So this is the waterway.
Yeah.
This is the ocean. This takes you all the way down to the Charleston Harbor. So you can travel from North Carolina state line to Charleston, South Carolina, and never once touch the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah. Crazy. That's cool.
That's pretty impressive.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
So I'm trying to think of what else I could show you here.
Yeah, you were talking about the right-of-way plans.
Yes. Get back to that. Now I forgot what I was going to show you on the right-of-way plans.
Sorry. It's probably leading into into Georgetown of some sort, or maybe some of the right of way getting closer to Georgetown.
Yeah, like I said, this is, this was Sockasty Creek. You can see it meandering, but then they dug this canal to straighten it out, which of course changed this water body for forever, really. There was something I was going to say, and now I can't remember what it was. Maybe if I see it.
Oh, go back to it was your CAD. While you were in your CAD, and you had the aerial pulled up on that area. Yeah, that one. And you were more in that area right there. Yep.
So again, this is one of those panels that is the overall drawing.
Mhm.
This is our job site where we actually found one of the monuments to tie into was right there. And that's the one I have the picture of with the water bottle next to it.
Yep.
When we actually located that, because it's under the tree, we couldn't do it with GPS. We had to set 2 control points out here and then just turn into it conventionally. Again, not really tying into anything other than that. We do, anytime we set control, of course, we take multiple shots and average it out. So we're pretty confident that the coordinate we got on that was okay. I don't know. I can't remember what the heck I was going to say. But that is
That's
pretty
my
much
fault.
it.
Yeah, no, that was the the only thing I can think about is it's laid out a lot like, almost highway plans, right? Oh, Jason has his hand up too. Where I was thinking it was almost like control lines when it comes to DOT control, highway control, right of ways, those kind of things, the monumentations, the offsets to, O lines or A lines, those kind of things that you would typically see on highway DOT plan. So that was kind of
Yes.
that's kind of
Yeah.
cool to see.
Very,
That's kind
very
of cool.
similar.
Yeah, yeah,
Very similar. You're gonna have monumentation that's gonna get you on the stationing you need to reestablish
yep.
whatever it is you're looking to do.
What before I run to Jason, what's the plan since you said they're no longer ever going to be monumented again? What's the plan to preserve them or preserve the locations or GIS type stored values on them?
So it really is going to be up to us as the surveyors to have a record of that monumentation.
Yeah.
These coordinates again, let me share my screen again here. Again, you're gonna have, where is it now? I'm gonna get back to this one. Come on. So you've got the station number, you've
Hmm.
got the offset, and you've got the coordinate. So you could convert these coordinates to today's values
Sure.
and still use it. However, again, you've got this station, which is not the station of the monument that's actually in the field.
That's why I was laughing. Yeah.
That's a little bit problematic to a lot of folks. So again, the coordinate is what matters because the stationing in this drawing may not match the station that's on the monument that's out there. It really doesn't matter. That monument in its physical location is still 190.27 to the center, whether it has that correct station on it or not.
That adds some ambiguities, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Jason, you had your hand up first. Did you still have a
You
question?
kind of hit the ball a little bit into the play. I was wondering the same type of information because I'm still kind of fresh off of all the tests and getting into new projects. Who's the overarching control of these monuments? Is it just the Corps of Engineers, or does the Department of Interior get involved with it? Because I've done some projects in the past. We did the Rio Grande, and we were setting the left edge points and right edge points along the entire reach between like Colorado and somewhere southern New Mexico. But that was done within the DOI, and the Department of Interior was in charge of that stuff. But in this case, do they have like some kind of process or means? I mean, because we all think about the BLM because we're not colonial states out here, out past Texas and such. But how do they maintain that? And back to that whole monumentation thing, do you have an obligation when you go to these coordinates to rehabilitate or to restore or put in place a monument that's lost, obliterated, or whatever? Do those terms even come up in these types of situations?
They do not. When we go to recover a Army Corps of Engineers monument or even a geodetic monument, if it's gone, it's gone. It's not our responsibility to replace that. We don't do remon in this state the way most public lands states do that.
Okay, and I'm curious, yeah, because we put new monumentation in along the Rio Grande, so it was pretty arduous work and fun, sometimes terrible at other times. So just curious, because that looks like that would be interesting field work, especially because it's mostly a swamp essentially.
Yes. All right, so I just did remember what I wanted to show you.
Yeah, there you go. Before we
Let,
talk.
yeah, let me go back to this. This would be on the one that we did. Okay, so again, this is that, you know, three, oops. All right, so this was that three buildings, and they built this one marina. They were supposed to build three, but it got too expensive in the downturn of the economy, so they didn't. So again, that fella who did the previous survey had established the right-of-way line, which I'm not showing in this. What I am showing is this no build line. As we said, the right-of-way in these areas is in a curve. The canal, center line of canal prism, the canal prism itself, and the no build lines are all series of line segments.
Mhm.
There is no curve in the center line. There's no curve in the canal prism. There's no curve in the no build line. So if I did like a best fit curve arc, 3 point. So if I did a curve right here and then I offset that 125 feet. No, I did it on the wrong line. You can see my CAD skills come into play here. So if I offset that line 125 feet, I'm wiping out half that dock
Yeah, big difference. Yeah.
because I did it on a curve rather than a line segment. So when I went out and did the as-built of this dock, I did just that because this was my first survey on the waterway. So I put a curve in the center and I offset it. And I called that surveyor, Mike Oliver, and I said, "We got a serious problem here." And I explained to him what happened. He's like, "You're right. You do have a problem. It's you. You did the wrong thing."
Oh my
So
gosh.
again, you've got to realize that that right of way is a curve, but those center line of canal prism and the no build lines are a series of line segments. Very, very important thing to remember.
Oh, I love that. Which is probably how this presentation came about, right?
Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, and that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah. That's
So,
awesome. I love it. Jerry,
so
go for
I
it.
got these drawings, all of these CAD files, this whole overall waterway thing, and all of the individual files that make it up, all the right-of-way acquisition stuff I got from Mike Oliver when he did that presentation 20 years ago
Okay.
to tell everybody what an idiot I was.
I love it.
So today to get these things, you've either got to know someone in the Army Corps of Engineers or Freedom of Information requests.
Sure. Yeah.
And if you've ever done those, you know it's probably going to take you 2 tries to get to exactly what you need.
It's gonna take you a minute for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Jerry, do you still have a question?
Yeah, the monuments that are there, they're just not going to be maintained. They're not actually going to remove them or anything. They're just not going to maintain them, right?
No, but they will be there as long as they exist, but once they're
As
gone, they're
long as
gone.
somebody until somebody knocks them out, right?
So I
Um,
did go look for one I located probably 5 years ago. And for this presentation that I did Saturday, I went and looked for that monument to take a picture of it. And there's a Pizza Hut parking lot on it right now.
oh, okay.
That one is gone.
Well, Now, the NAD 27 coordinates that you showed on there, were those computed by the Corps of Engineer or was that done subsequently by someone else?
That's all Corps of Engineers information.
Okay,
So they did, like I said, they did the original 1927 monumentation. Then after the right-of-way acquisition, they did a full monumentation of the right-of-way. And
right.
that lasted a little bit through construction, but they've had several remonumentations through the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
70s. So the 70s was the last time any monuments were set.
1979 was the last time anything was recovered.
Okay, so those NAD 83 coordinates that you show, are those recomputed from the original measurements or are those transformed using software?
I don't know how they came by it, but they do give the 27 coordinates as well. So I would
Right.
assume that they were all located on the 27, and then they, when they updated datums, they just published an 83 version of it.
Right. Just did
But,
the
but we
transfer.
don't know if they recomputed it using the original measurements or if they just ran it through something like NADCON or whatever and come up with an approximate transformation.
That would be my
I
guess.
would assume that they ran it through something,
Okay.
whether it, Opus or, Trimble Business Center,
Well,
whatever.
chances are if they did, it was probably through NADCON because that's what all the federal agencies were using
Yeah. And
for the
again,
2783.
the last time they physically occupied that monument was in 1979. So
Right.
you
Yeah,
can,
Which
it was not in 1983.
correct. Yeah,
right.
they just did a transformation on the 27. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
That's why
thank you.
that's why I was curious to see what the kind of the, you know, history of saving them will be. How many monuments do you think are just in South Carolina? If you had to guess.
So there's probably on each one of these sheets, I would say there's probably 10 monuments because everywhere, and let me share my screen
Sure.
again for a
Yeah.
second.
I'm just
So
trying to think of an undertaking.
typically anywhere you see a monument on this side of the right of way, there is a corresponding monument on
There's going to
this
be
side.
a left and a right. Yep.
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 So there's probably one, two, three, four. There's probably 12 monuments on each one of these sheets, and there are 22 sheets, and that's just Horry County.
And just in those 30 miles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Crazy.
So this is an airport that is up in North Myrtle Beach, and we were doing a development over here, so we had to come and find these monuments within the airport property. Which thankfully this is a very small executive airport, but we
Mhm.
still had to have an escort, so that was kind of
Yep.
fun.
Yep. Yep.
To be out there on the right next to the runway locating right away monuments.
That's awesome. When do you think that CAD file, that aerial was done? Oh, that was '03. I think you showed that
Yeah,
2003.
so they were 2003,
Yeah.
and this is all digitized from aerial photos
Yeah.
or lidar.
Sure. How deep is the center of that canal? Ish.
So there is down here. We got some cross sections. Now these are not elevations; these are depths.
Okay. Yep.
So the canal prism itself is very, very deep. Like I said, this is the only part that they actually dredge.
Yep.
As you get closer to shore, like let's go back to where these docks would be.
Yeah, I was just gonna say feathers out.
You get right next to here where these docks are. This could be actually only 1 or 2 feet deep,
Yeah.
which is why the homeowner would have to have it dredged
Got it. His own,
periodically.
yeah, his own pathway to get his boat out. Yeah.
Right,
Got it.
right. But yeah, out here, you're looking at 18 feet deep, and then here you're looking at,
Sure.
so when we do these dock permits, we start on land and we do a cross section, and we've got to get to a -5 elevation
Hmm.
before we can stop, and that is typically like right there.
And that's usually with waiters or
Oh yeah,
how you guys doing that?
you
Yeah.
can get a -5 elevation here in chest waders.
Yeah. Yeah. It talks about how shallow that water was. Yeah. Which I can, whatever. It's September. I was playing in in Charleston area playing golf, and you can just see how pretty much thin the layer of water is all around that area. So
Oh yeah, and especially at low tide. And that's the other thing
yeah,
about this, about the Intracoastal Waterway. This is tidal.
yeah, okay,
So it is a kind of a brackish water. It's more fresh than salt, but it is brackish
yeah,
and it is tidal. Um, so out on the beach, we probably have 6 feet in difference between high and low tide. In this channel here, you're probably looking at closer to 2 feet.
got it. That's awesome.
So those depths, are those depths at low tide then?
I am not sure what they are taking those from, if it's low tide or high tide. But again, it is pretty much useless information because it is a depth and not an elevation.
Right.
Yeah, unless you're going aground, then it's the best information you want.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You definitely want to know where the deepest part of the channel is if you're drafting. You know, some of those sailboats have that thing that goes
Yeah,
down underneath it,
yeah,
the running board.
The
right.
15,000 foot keel, 15,000 pound keel keeps it from blowing over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. That's awesome.
But it is, you know, like I said, in this area, it is all recreational, but and you really have no outlet or inlet except for like private marinas. Here's a little private marina that you can get in there. Otherwise, you're coming in from the ocean at the state line in Little River,
Yeah,
or you're coming in from the ocean from Georgetown County.
yeah, that's
There's
crazy.
there's no access out to the ocean other than those areas.
So you're just your Sunday cruise up and down the
Yeah, it's like cruising the boulevard, except you're
yeah, yeah,
cruising the waterway.
yeah, 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 exactly.
But there are so many restaurants and bars and fun things to do along the waterway that people
Got it.
do. They make a weekend of it.
Yeah, just cruise up and down. That is cool. Oh, I love that. That was awesome. I know it was kind of short and sweet, but that was very informative, and I love how the presentation came about. Right, just because by
By me asking another
yeah,
surveyor, what am I doing wrong here?
yeah, exactly. That's the best. Those are the best lessons learned is calling
Yeah.
somebody and
Well,
going,
So I told him, before I call my client and tell him his $1 million dock is over the line,
yeah,
I need you to take a look at this, please.
yeah. Please tell me what I did
well,
wrong.
this is a timely subject because there are so many things that are dependent on Corps of Engineer work.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not too far from the Mississippi River here, and we've got locks and dams all up and down the river. And that affects the water height, obviously, and then the
Hmm.
riparian ownership and that type of stuff. And you go and there are monuments out there currently, particularly benchmarks for the water heights and that type of thing. But if somebody's not maintaining those, then like I say, over time they disappear. And where do you find that information and its impact that it has on ownership rights? So the impact that the Corps of Engineer has is pretty substantial when somebody stops and thinks about all the things that they've been involved with.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a very heavy jurisdictional presence here.
And just when I was in New Orleans for the NCWS annual meetings, you just start tracking the Mississippi going back, and it's like kind of like we just talked about, Aaron. There's parts when I was just kind of zooming in all the way back on the Mississippi. It's like there's parts of it that looks like it's just a irrigation canal, right? Like
Yeah.
it's interesting to kind of track some of these rivers back. So that's cool. I love that. Good stuff. Anybody got questions? Somebody's got to have some questions. We don't get to. Most people on here seem to be most West Coast, so I would hope somebody would have some more questions. But
Well, it's probably not something that y'all would do every single
no,
day.
no, not at all. No, I know. That's why I was very intrigued by having you coming on. So I know it's you hung out at the office late for us tonight, and so it's already 8 o'clock at night for you. So
Well, the
if
Cowboys come on in 25 minutes, so we still got time.
okay, all right, there you go.
Did you see any gators while you were out there?
So in the waterway, with it being brackish, no, really don't see any gators. You will see water moccasins or other poisonous snakes. But when you get back into the backwater of the natural areas, of the natural water areas, yes, yes, we have alligators. Plenty to go around. If you want to come get a couple, take them back home with you.
Which one's more fearful, water moccasin or gator?
So a gator, and if it's nesting or has young, is very
Sure.
aggressive.
Yeah,
A water moccasin is very aggressive
no
anytime.
matter what. Yeah, exactly.
A water moccasin is the only snake I've ever seen that will actually come after you.
They're nasty. Yeah,
It
they're
will
nasty.
chase you.
Yeah, they are
They
nasty.
have no fear whatsoever.
And how, so I guess like leads into that next kind of like Jason's question. How many is most of this done from maybe say airboats or is a lot of it just through waders? What are you guys doing?
So a majority of the like the dock permit stuff, like I said, you've only got to go to a -5 elevation. So
Yeah,
you can absolutely wade out there. Um, Now there are some monuments that do kind of fall, the bank has eroded away, so the monument itself is actually underwater.
yeah,
I've had them where I've had to reach an arm's length down and feel that I was on the monument.
sure.
So you should have like at least a canoe or something
Got it.
for that. But it's, any small craft would really do.
Got it.
But most times you're accessing that waterway from the private property that you're surveying. So you're already right there.
Yeah.
If you wanted to access it by boat, you're going to come from a private marina or the inlets.
Yep. Got it. That's awesome. Very cool. Well, anybody else got any more questions? I love it. That was fun. I love we don't get to deal with enough waterway conversations. Kevin might in Washington, but we don't get to deal with it.
Yeah, actually, I'm on the east side of the state, so
Yeah.
we're a lot of
Okay.
desert. It's very similar to Arizona, but at Washtenaw we do a lot of bathymetric surveys. So
Yep.
we'll travel to the west side, but not as nearly as much as I'd like to.
You're right. Yeah. 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 All right. That was awesome. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. Glad you enjoyed it.
Heck yeah. That's awesome. Well, enjoy your week,
Thank you
everybody.
very much.
Yeah. Awesome. And
All right.
I don't know. Is it anybody against the Cowboys? I don't even know who they're
Ha,
playing.
they're playing Arizona tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Go Cowboys and take the Bears with you.
I love it. All right, everybody. Have a great week. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.